This isn't Freedom Day. If your brother, sister, your mother, your father, gran and granda are 6 feet in the clay, not a chance, no way, could this ever be entitled Freedom Day. No, this isn't Freedom Day. If you're holed up at home, unprotected and alone on every street in every town, you're immunosuppressed and you've been let down. The cancer patients or folk with blood disorders or HIV, another person sentenced because eugenicist Tories incarcerate the CEV in their homes, hugging the dread they feel growing in their bones. No, this is not Freedom Day, fool. For millions of children just out of school with no vaccinations, no bubbles, no masks. As COVID stalks every child in its path, it's no surprise the evidence doesn't lie. 1 in 4 hospitalized might have long COVID for the rest of their still young lives. No, this is not Freedom Day. As daily infections rise, affecting 100,000 lives a day, will the NHS triage hold the line? It's tricky. Who can say? Before the chums and private healthcare hedge fund the NHS away. No, this is not Freedom Day. If you're BAME, or you and your children struggle in abject poverty, where your jobs have gone and your families displaced, the 7th worst COVID for lives erased from the 6th wealthiest nation in the human race. No, this is not Freedom Day. And let's never forget track and trace, forever etched in history as a £37 billion national disgrace where Queen Dido divvies diligently. But it's all wrong and broken and late because, as Freedom Day mythology classically dictates, and the Tory sages now understand, there's no need to even self-isolate because no help will now be at hand. Just watch the waves that climb higher as the deadly surge overtops the land. No, Freedom Day means nothing if your benefits are cut and there's new food banks on your back streets, but there's never quite enough. And the only levels rising are morbidity and damp in Tory Little England's viral concentration camps. It's not Freedom Day to never have a choice, to be browbeaten by billionaires who steal your coughing voice, and the release of the CCTV of the spineless Hancock who conveniently got caught, his Tory member dripping with sleaze as Boris gives him the chop. Please, this could not be Freedom Day. When your nation self-isolates from diplomatic partnerships because you believe that makes you great? No, you know Freedom Day has bombed when public money just becomes another Tory crony slush fund where the bottom feeders stick their snout and the contracts for mates get divvied out. Aeneas, no, this is not Freedom Day by any stretch or measure, as they eviscerate the social contract and crack the healthcare workers' backs. But oh, at Her Majesty's government's pleasure, and then they bury their liberated treasure in their Holiday Island beachfront bank stash bomb-proof apocalypse cellar. Oh no, Agamemnon, no. This isn't Freedom Day for 3 million shielders and their families who fear the disease worst from this Tory July curse, and anti-vax cacks and vax non-responders are equally defenseless but more stupidly deserving than hard-pressed first responders who give their service for a living, always willing, never sovereign to the killing. Not Freedom Day for healthcare workers, carers, doctors, patients and their nurses who survived the worst of it, only to be deluged again and again with surging waves of Tory COVID curses. Choke the spittle in the pay rise insult from the public purses. 1%. This is not Freedom Day for underpaid key workers that supplied the lines time after time, that drove the trains, the buses, the trucks, that stocked the shelves, and that never gave up. They held the line, they staunched with pluck. But for Boris, bungling Bullingdon, this jape cannot come unstuck. Semper mendaces, semper infidelis. He couldn't give one measly damn. or a cash advance Cobra. Fuck. No. This isn't Freedom Day. When they blame it all on you, when Dido and Pretty wash their hands and thrust the dagger deeper, and Johnson like Tory Christ defying death, it was just a frivolous dorm room caper. Now he stands irreversibly as the deadliest Freedom Day reaper. For artists and makers, not for undertakers, the lightning rod of outdoor ventilation won't be enough to make an audience a nation. Sadly, where Barrington Boris trumps the rules by irreversible fatal decree to level up communities by simply surreptitiously cutting them off at the knees. Have some chlorinated chicken as they drill for new oil fields. This is Freedom Day Tory style, the hurt, the theft, the sleaze. COP27 and bloody Sunday amnesties. The pale deceit of freedom. It's just another crooked Tory deal. Enough, says Canute, and Rishi agrees. We will hold back the tide, but never take the knee. Let the vulnerable, the weak, the young learn to die from this disease. In a Freedom Day telecast by the threatened BBC. You might live through the pandemic, but will you survive the Tory disease? Ring around a story, a fool of Pyrrhic glory, a Tory, we all fall.